Night had fallen. Stars scattered across the vast sky, while the battlefield lay shattered, an enormous crater yawning at its center, smoke coiling thick in the air like restless spirits. Injured martial saints stood amidst the wreckage. One clutched his ribs, breathing uneven, eyes wide with disbelief and terror. Another remained frozen in place, fists trembling uncontrollably, unable to comprehend the destructive force they had just witnessed. Fear rippled through the ranks as all eyes fixated on one man, Luen, who had effortlessly crushed their divine manifestations with raw, unadulterated strength. Luen hovered inches above the ground, an oppressive aura rolling off him. His gaze swept the broken landscape, calm, unreadable. Silence reigned. Every warrior stared, but none dared move. How could one man command such overwhelming power? Catching the look on their faces, Lusheng's lips curled into a smirk, cold, arrogant, mocking. Suddenly, a muscular martial saint snarled, veins bulging, fury twisting his features. "All of you, attack! Together we'll drag this bastard down." The others snapped into formation, shifting into aggressive stances. Determination hardened their eyes as they surged toward him in unison. But Luen only chuckled darkly. "Finally choosing to swarm me, are you?" His golden aura blazed brighter. "Pointless." In a blink, he burst into their formation like a thunderbolt. Fists and palms exploded with unimaginable force, each strike flattening or obliterating the martial saints. Screams of pain rang out as they were hurled away, like fragile leaves in a storm. "It's hopeless," someone shrieked, tumbling from the sky, battered and broken. Away from the clash, a panicked group yanked Harold by his collar, dragging him into their circle. "Who is he, Harold? Speak." Harold's face was ghostly pale, trembling uncontrollably. I don't know. Don't ask me, I'm merely a 9th-level martial arts master. I can't explain him." His silence spoke volumes. The surrounding warriors exchanged grim looks. They understood. Even Harold, a master, was helpless. Lusheng's eyes gleamed maliciously. Raising his hand, golden energy danced between his fingers. His mocking voice rang out. "This is the strength of level 9 martial saints? Pathetic. Surely, you can do better." Teeth clenched, one saint cursed. His scarred eye burned with resolve as he reached into his coat, pulling out a shimmering energy crystal. Without hesitation, he bit down, swallowing it whole. Dark energy erupted violently from his body. His limbs twisted, demonic wings tore free from his back, claws sprouted, a jagged horn piercing his forehead. Transformed, his blood-red gaze locked onto Luen. With a primal roar, he charged, moving like a streak of shadow. A monstrous punch crashed into Luen, launching him into a massive boulder. Dust exploded outward. As it settled, Luen stood, blood trailing from his lips, but calm, almost amused. He wiped the blood away, then broke into wicked laughter. "Yes, that's it. More. Give me more pressure." His eyes gleamed with madness. "Hit me. Kill me if you can. Pressure me." The other saints roared. "He's only an 8th-level martial artist. He can't defeat all of us together. Burn our lifespan if we must consume the crystals." One after another, energy crystals glowed as they swallowed them, their bodies surging with unnatural power. In a deadly tide, they descended on Luen, fists, feet, and weapons slamming into him. His body was hammered relentlessly, chest, back, head, limbs. "For daring to insult us you die." They pummeled him skyward like a rag doll before slamming him into the earth. The shockwaves tore across the battlefield. But then, from the crater, Luen rose barely scratched. Golden energy flared wildly around him. Calm, almost smiling, he gazed at the ground. Deep within, his immortal cells pulsed, martial fire blazing outward. In mere moments, his energy engulfed the heavens. The saints froze, eyes filled with dread. Luen clenched his fists, thunder dancing over his frame. His eyes burned with fire. This was the pressure he craved. He unleashed a wave of energy ferocious, unstoppable, swallowing everything before it. One martial saint was hurled away, face frozen in horror. Another tried shielding himself, overwhelmed and confused. Above Lusheng, a golden mystical circle blazed to life. Columns of searing light cascaded down, heat shimmering through the air. Lusheng stood at its center, lightning crackling around him like living serpents. Nearby warriors stumbled back, unable to endure the suffocating force. Then, cracks began forming along Lusheng's body. His skin peeled away, fragments breaking off like a shattered cocoon. He smirked, exhaling slowly. Finally, it's done. I am invincible now. No one can stand against me. One martial saint shielded his eyes. Another, glasses askew, stared in shock. Realization hit them like a thunderbolt. Lusheng had ascended to level 9. He had overwhelmed them even before. Now they were ants before a god. A drenched saint shouted, voice hoarse, "Retreat! Run! If we stay, we die." The northern marshal's eyes widened with terror. He saw before him a living god. The southern marshal gasped, witnessing something beyond human comprehension. The central marshal collapsed to his knees, eyes brimming with tears. This wasn't a warrior anymore. This was the god of war. As saints scattered like frightened birds, among them was Lin Wanwen's mother. She stared at Lusheng, whispering, "No words can describe his strength." Even energy crystals couldn't save her now. She dared not fight him. She turned back once, eyes filled with awe. It felt as though history itself unfolded before her. Lusheng watched them flee, but made no move to chase. Silence settled over the wreckage. A new era had dawned. Extending his hand, he studied the martial fire flickering in his palm. 300-year-old martial saints, yet still too weak. Even 20 fueled by energy crystals couldn't give him the crisis he yearned for. He sighed softly, eyes lowered. This battle hadn't delivered the deadly challenge he desired. His gaze shifted to his palm, glowing faintly. No matter how many saints joined forces, they couldn't kill him. With 22 immortal cells, he had survived level 10 strikes now. He possessed nearly 300. Level 9 saints were helpless before him. Resting his hand under his chin, his mind churned. He was only halfway through level 9. His martial body and spirit had yet to fully merge. Under the glittering night sky, Lusheng lifted his head. Clenching his fist tightly, he could only place his hopes on the guides soon to arrive.